This video is brought to you by
Welcome to Cool Green Clothing. This your last shot right here to get your hands on Cool Green Clothing first ever graffiti. Go online right now at coolgreenclothing.com and make your purchase. Oh yeah, and by the way, if you ain't cool and getting the green, you're in the way, and that's just basic.
If you ain't cool getting that green, you in the way, shorty. For real.
That's just
Cool
basic.
green, man. Stop playing. Cop up, man. Support the man. Pay the man. Support black businesses, man. We need to keep that black dollar circulating, man. Peace, love, elevation. Cool green. We out.
What's going on, YouTube, fam? It's your boy Tony 2Times, and we back with another episode of the Baltimore Way, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For the day one, fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Let's get right into the story. As a young man, when you decide to jump into them streets, it's important you know what comes with it on every level. Some get a little blick, observe others, they feel like are built like that and feel like they are ready to get their hands dirty themselves. But watching something and doing it is two different things. For example, you hear about or watch your homies pull a few moves, like a robbery. You are a teenager. Now you thinking, oh, my mans and them got away with a few hundred. On a quick tip, I want to do the same thing. But when that gun is in your hands and you out here by yourself, it's a different ball game. I have personally saw individuals try to rob someone with no bullets, the clip fall out the gun, scared, shaking, not even knowing how to hold a weapon, just to prove they will do it. Not knowing the outcome can go from all fun and games to either someone taking your blick and hurting you because you are shaky, or you pulling the trigger because you don't know how to pull a move without nobody getting hurt. And sadly, most people out here robbing and shooting don't even know the law. A hopper might go out with his homie, they run down on somebody, and his mans pop that person. He thinking in his head, oh, I ain't pulled the trigger, not knowing either way, you can go to prison as well. And on this episode of the Baltimore Way, we will be discussing the case of two teens' late night plot to come up that turned fatal for a young couple. Back in 2019, Julian Rosalie was a 28-year-old man that grew up in Baltimore. Friends and family called him Rico. Rico had a brother who he was very close to, also a daughter in which he strived to be the best father he could. He fought hard to overcome the challenges of the city, even almost losing his freedom back in 2012 after being falsely accused of a crime he didn't commit. The situation was a 27-year-old former Baltimore Ravens cheerleader was out one morning with her husband. They both had on nice engagement rings and wedding bands worth over $22,000. The couple was bopping around in South Baltimore on Cleveland and Covington Street when a man rolled up on a bike with his homie and one of them up the blick, robbed the couple for the rings and money. After the couple called police and were interviewed, the woman stated it was a black male. Rico and his homeboy shared the row house not too far from M&T Stadium. When pictures of the men were shown to the couple in the lineup, she pointed both men out, stating she knew for a fact that was the people that robbed her. They both were picked up, charged with robbery, assault, and handgun violations. To make a long story short, after days in jail, Rico's and the other man's family provided solid alibis for their whereabouts. For one, Rico was Hispanic, not black, and he was at a restaurant downtown on Light Street, with surveillance in the area showed him there at the time of the robbery, as his homie was also not in the area. Eventually, charges were dropped on both men, and someone else was picked up. Let's fast forward back to 2019. Rico had met a young lady, 26-year-old Brittany Foster. Growing up in Harford County, Brittany grew up a little different from Rico, but somehow the two connected, as some described the pair as a young couple. On July 2nd, 2019, Brittany and Rico were together all the way into the late night, kicking back in the city as she was visiting from Harford County. As the couple walked around in West Baltimore, they didn't realize they were being followed. Brittany had a nice designer red purse, and Rico also looked like he had a few dollars on him. Once the couple hit Bloomingdale Road and Ellicott Driveway, two men came out the cut, one with a blick, and announced it was a robbery. Rico advised Brittany to get down. As she dropped to her knees, he laid on the ground. The robbers took Brittany's purse before seconds later, multiple shots went off, and the robbers fled. BPD was called to the location early that morning to find both Brittany and Rico suffering from gunshot wounds. They were both rushed to a local hospital, but unfortunately succumbed to their injuries. As Brittany's family got the news, they were heartbroken, asking why did they have to bury their daughter just because she was walking up the street on a late night. Brittany was described as a person that loved fashion, her father's only child, and had one day plans to go to law school. At first, police had no suspects or motives in the situation, but after searching the area, they quickly realized there was cameras all around in the locations that showed everything. The couple walking about 2 a.m., two men trailing behind them lurking. Then when they got to the intersection, the men made their move. As police kept investigating, they zoomed in on the video and it seemed like they noticed the suspect. At the time, 17-year-old Charles Anderson. The young man was already out on bail for a previous armed robbery. More tips came in that his co-D was another teen. At the time, 18-year-old Danielle Morris. The two young men were both taken into custody and questioned before evidence was shown to them, including a video. Also, witness statements from people who claimed that the young man talked to them about the situation. Danielle and Charles were charged with the double hit and robbery of Rico and Brittany. As more information came out, it was alleged Charles was the one who pulled the trigger, and as the case made its way to trial, the video was played in court for Brittany's and Rico's family. It allegedly showed the two teens peeking around the corner as the couple walked, Charles upping the gun as Rico and Brittany fell to the ground, Danielle grabbing Brittany's purse and Charles letting off shots, hitting Brittany in the head and Rico in the back. In September of 2022, Danielle accepted a plea agreement. Even though his lawyers argued he wasn't the trigger man, he received life, all suspended, for 40 years at 21 years old. Charles and his attorneys entered the NCR, which means not criminally responsible for the crime, after claims the young man's mental health was in question, but it was later withdrawn. Charles has since then picked 12 people for a jury trial and is innocent until proven otherwise, as the case is still ongoing. Rest in peace to Rico and Brittany. I send my deepest prayers and condolences to both families. This story is relatable on both sides. At 17, me and my homeboy used to be out that same time of night with a blick, lurking, and robbing. That's how I caught my charges and time, and him receiving 18 years later that next year for still robbing. Fortunately, nobody lost their lives. When you are that young, it seems so easy to go rob and try to come up. When I think back, the most we ever saw was a few $100, and that was robbing multiple people, putting their lives and ours in danger. So I understand the mindset of Charles and Danielle, but unfortunately, they allegedly took 2 lives. And Danielle's lawyers wanted it to be known he wasn't the shooter. But for all the young men, when you go out here with your mans, little wild, yo, thinking everything gonna line up, just remember, you never know what the next person will do. You could have had your mind on a few dollars, but they might have their mind on catching a few bodies. Now 2 people are gone, one young man with 40 years and another facing life over a purse that I'm sure it probably wasn't that much in. But hey, that's the Baltimore way. Man, crazy story, man. Rest in peace them people. I ain't gonna talk too much more about this one. Definitely let me know what y'all think in the comments. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. It's all love, fam. This is another episode of the Baltimore Way. It's your boy Tony 2 times. I'm out.